Gedney here. Professor Lake is at the site.
He wanted me to report the finding of a star-shaped fragment, about 6 inches across and 1.5 inches thick. It is of a greenish soapstone. It is like a 5-pointed star, with 4 of the points broken off, and oddest of all, it seems to have been worked, though the level it comes from would place it during the age of dinosaurs. We will check in again in 3 hours.
Professor Dyer, correct me if I'm wrong, but you never reported any of this before.
I have never mentioned it, Miss Ashton, but with the United States government now planning more Antarctic exploration, I must break my silence.
Did you bring back any of these unusual fossils?
We did not. However, we have some very remarkable photographs and other supporting evidence which the public has never seen.
Did you learn what kind of a fossil the star-shaped item was?
Oh, yes. We learned its nature. It was not a fossil at all, but something else, something made. And would to God we'd never discovered the terrible secret. Our next report from the expedition was also from Gedney, and also delivered in tones of the utmost excitement.
Gedney reporting for the Lake expedition. At 10:15 p.m., Orndorff and Watkins, working underground with light, found a monstrous barrel-shaped fossil of wholly unknown nature. Dr. Lake believes it is probably vegetable, unless it is an overgrown specimen of some unknown marine radiata. The peculiar thing is that it seems more frozen than petrified. Over.
Extraordinary. Gedney, can you describe the specimen? Over.
The tissues are leathery, but astonishingly flexible. It is 6 feet at end to end, 3 feet 8 inches surface diameter, tapering to 1 foot at each end.
It's like a barrel, with 5 bulging ridges in place of staves.
Lateral breakages as the thin stalks
Are at the equator in the middle of the ridges, and the furrows between the ridges are curious growths, like combs or wings, that fold up or spread out like fans.
Only one is complete, but it opens to a 7-foot spread.
My God, the elder things.
I didn't get that, Gates. Please repeat, over.
Nothing, Gedney. Continue. Over.
That is all for now. Dr. Lake or I will be on the air again in 2 hours. Lake expedition out.
What did you say, Danforth?
The elder things, Professor. What Gedney was describing matched the descriptions of the elder things. The great old ones in primal myth and in the Necronomicon.
Oh, really, Danforth?
I'm sorry, Professor Pabberty, but the fact is the descriptions are the same. Exactly the same.
Over the next 24 hours, we heard more news of the monstrous creatures. The Lake expedition discovered a cluster of them, 13 in all, each beneath one of those curious star-shaped soapstone carvings. For by now it was clear that the stars were carven stone, not organic fossils. 8 of the creatures were curiously perfect, as Lake reported by radio.
We have brought the last of the creatures into camp. We're having trouble with the dogs. They can't endure the new specimens and would probably tear them to pieces if we didn't keep them at a distance. Over.
Lake, will you transport these fossils to the base camp? Over.
No, Maze, not yet. First we will dissect one. These barrel growths are the strangest things I've ever seen. I cannot determine whether they are vegetable or animal. A dissection is imperative. Over.
Lake, how on earth can you dissect a fossil? Over.
These are not, repeat, not fossils, Bates. They are preserved specimens, frozen by the incredibly low temperatures. I will thaw one out slowly and then dissect it. Lake expedition out.
What did the dissection reveal, Dr. Dyer?
It was puzzling, Miss Ashton. The creatures stood 6 to 8 feet tall in life. At the extremities were star-shaped organs, a head at one end, or so Lake assumed, and an arrangement of legs and feet at the other. The head bore 5 reddish feeding tubes and 5 yellow breathing tubes. The body, in addition to the incredible wings, bore 5 bundles of manipulating tentacles. The star organ at the base had legs measuring 4 feet in length, with a triangular-shaped pseudo-foot at the end of each of the 5 legs. All was incredibly tough and resilient. Lake concluded, somewhat hastily, that the creatures were animal in nature, probably a fantastically advanced evolution of the radiata.
And from what period of prehistory did this creature come? Was it on Earth, when the dinosaurs lived?
Lake could not say. He was aghast at the monstrosity, so primitive in form, but with an incredibly advanced nervous system, and it appeared to be perfectly amphibious, at home in either air or water. He told us he was preparing to dissect a second creature, and that was the last communication we had from Professor Lake.
What happened to him?
We did not know, Miss Ashton. When the Lake expedition missed 2 scheduled radio times, we had a council of war about them.
I say we should give them one more chance to respond, and then send a rescue party. There may have been a storm.
I agree, but I cannot send both of our remaining airplanes. That would be madness, particularly if the weather is bad.
I will take a plane then, and...
No, it's my responsibility. Danforth will fly me to the lake camp. In a pinch, the Dornier should be able to transport everyone back.
Yes, if we gas it up completely and get rid of every ounce of extra weight.
Then that's my decision. Danforth, get the plane ready. Rip out everything that you can. You'll have 4 hours. If the lake party does not report in by that time, you and I will fly out to investigate. At 7:15 a.m. on January 25th, Danforth and I set off. We carried with us 7 dogs, a sledge, emergency food rations and fuel, and a spare wireless outfit. In an emergency, we were prepared to leave everything, including the dogs, if we had to fly wounded men back to the base. We hoped, of course, that we would find that the lake expedition had only had difficulty with its short-wave equipment. For 4.5 hours, we flew steadily southwestward. Then, for the first time, we saw the extraordinary ramparts of the unknown mountain range.
Incredible! How tall would you say they are, Dr. Dyer?
I don't know, Danforth. Everest is out of the running, that's for certain. Some of those peaks must be 35,000 feet above sea level.
They're witch-like, bleak and bare and black. What are those? Those cubes?
Where?
All around the summits, Doctor. Like blocks clinging to the sides of the peaks. They're too regular to be geological.
Yes, I see them now. I see, but I can't understand them, Danforth, no more than you can.
You know, the anthropologists have placed the plateau of Leng in Central Asia, but now I don't know. I believe you were right about the Necronomicon, Professor Dyer.
What do you mean?
I wish I'd never read the damn book.
We found the camp and landed, amid a scene of devastation. All the tents were down, all the dogs dead, and we found other bodies too. 11 men dead. Young Getney was missing.
Are you all right, Professor Dyer? Charles, kill the tape.
I've cut it already.
Professor, are you all right?
Yes. Yes, excuse me. I'll get a glass of water. Would either of you like something to drink?
No, thank you,
No, I'm
Professor.
fine, thanks. What a nutcase. This guy's senile.
He's about 70, and I thought this was going to be a boring story.
You don't believe any of this crap, do you?
It doesn't matter if I do or don't. It's still a hell of a story. Everyone always thought that it was odd how those people died, and Professor's explanation's a hell of a lot more interesting than the official version. I wonder what's taking him so long.
I was drinking more than water.
You getting all this recorded?
Sure. And how much of it you can lose.
I apologize, Miss Ashton. Sometimes I get overwrought when I remember what we found.
That's all.